guys and welcome, my name is Jude and today I am here to talk about creative resources for creative people. Now I have some personal recommendations over here that I will show you, of course, but first, context. Now the new year has started and one of my own personal resolutions was to be more creative. And I mentioned this to a friend and he was like, well, isn't creativity just like a sort of like bam moment where you get creative? And I was like, no, of course not. Why would you think that? And it got me thinking that, well, he's an engineer that does not work in creative fields and I am an engineer that does work in creative fields and design and marketing and all that stuff. And for me that I work in that area, I understand that creativity is not something that just like shazam comes like magic. That it is actually a whole process of hard work where creativeness is building and forming and it comes out like a baby. But in general, I find that most people do think that creativeness is sort of like a lightning struck moment where you just get the idea and you're a genius, and that's how Steve Jobs made the Mac computers like now. Sorry, I had to move because of the sun. It's just coming in and out of crowds and it's annoying. But as I was saying, creativeness is a type of intelligence, and as all intelligence, it requires hard work and just lots of practice. Sure, there's people with natural talent and more creative inclinations, but even if you're like a mathematician, you don't learn all of the formulas and become like a great genius overnight and just because lightning strikes. You have to learn things and you've got to practice until you are a master of said things. And as I mentioned before, I do work in a creative field, and one of my goals for 2017 is to develop that outside the box way of thinking. And for that I bought some books and journal type of things to help me just work through that process, which I will show to you in this video, so that you may also draw some inspiration for that if creativeness is one of your goals for this year or just a goal in general. So the first things I want to show you, it's the Kleon books, Steal Like an Artist and Show Your Work. Very popular books and with good reason. I highly recommend it. I already read both of them and I really like them. Starting with Steal Like an Artist, which is about unlocking your creativity. The book is basically about stealing like an artist in the sense of doing research, of not being afraid to do research, to look for inspiration elsewhere, because I think that with artists and creative fields, there's this thing about originality and how it has to come like from a pure place, which I do think is bullshit, and this book talks about that, you know? Nothing is 100% original ever, and that it's fine to draw inspiration from other places, other artists, and of course just credit them when you do. So this book is just great to get you into that full-on research mode and just wanting to know what the world has to offer in the creative area that you're looking for. And then once you get your creativity on, it's Show Your Work, which is something that I find so many artists struggle with. Many friends of mine that are photographers or illustrators or designers just won't show their work because it's not ready. I struggle with this myself, but I can get over it pretty quickly because once I'm just like, I sit down and I'm like, I realize that nothing is ever going to be to my liking because, like many people, I'm a perfectionist and it's fine, you know? You want things to be the best they can be, but within reason. I mean, come on. When I finished reading this, I definitely felt very inspired and I wanted to show my work, and I worked on my portfolio and I got it up on my Behance and like I got working. So if you're one of those people that just never wants to show things because you never think they're ready, like embrace it. It's never going to be ready. There will always be more room for improvement, but you need to get your stuff out there, and this book is just great to give you that push. Because yes, every single time I update my portfolio like a year later when I look at it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? But that's part of it, and this book was great for understanding that. So it's just that next step. And it's a great book and I highly recommend it. And since I was able to get in a lot of inspiration from Kleon, I also bought his Steal Like an Artist journal, which is a creative companion type of book journal. It has a lot of exercises in here that you can do to be creative, which are not all easy, which is awesome because you actually have to sit down and like think and work it and just really think about it, you know? And sometimes I will just do things and I'll go back and redo them again until I get it right, for my liking at least, because that's the whole thing about creativity. You gotta work it. Work it. Now this book says that you're meant to carry it everywhere. I don't. I leave it at my desk every single day, but I try to do one exercise a day. And if the exercise requires me to actually take it out, I will do so. But I think that this is great and a very cool personal exercise to just get you into that creative mode thinking. Now, since I was enjoying this book a lot, I bought another creative journal, and it is One Page at a Time by who? One Page at a Time by Adam J. Kurtz, who is some guy. Now this book is literally like a 365 day kind of booky thing, but it's really fun, really interesting, very dynamic. There's a lot of space for you to write, to just roam free and do whatever you want. But it has really funny notes. It's really creative. It's a creative book. It's a really fun way to start. Like, there's this little login kind of page. I will show you in 1 second. I'm not sure if you can see the page clearly, but it's like a little login for any web page. You know, like the name, the date, and you continue or you can cancel. Of course, I chose continue, and I am slowly filling this up. And it's just a great kind of thing to do before bed. But also keep in mind that if you're doing this before bed, you need like 30 minutes because it's thinking. You're wiring, your brain is like working full on. So when you go to sleep, it's like, I can't sleep. Which is also why I have this I Can't Sleep journal from Knock Knock. Knock Knock has some great sarcastic books, and this is a great journal because it has a little quote here and then a space where you can write. So when at night my ideas are eating up at me and I'm like, I'm not gonna remember this in the morning, I just stretch my arm and pick it up right in front of me in the nightstand and fill the pages up. So yeah, you may not have this particular journal near your bed, but I do recommend having a little notebook near in case lightning strikes. Why not? And to the last but not least thing I have to show you is coloring books. I find them to be such a great resource for creativity. It's such a soothing thing to do. It reminds me of taking like a shower, like a hot shower, where you're just lying there and you're thinking. This feels like it. It's fun. They're really cute and funny. You can buy any type of coloring book you want, and it's just such a soothing time to actually sit down and do something. And there's just so much space to think, and I find it to be just so calming and soothing. So my brain really gets creative, and I personally don't like coloring. I use watercolors, which are these are not meant to be used as watercolor type of books, but I still do it. So I find these to be just so great, and I recommend it as an activity if you don't do it already. And of course, reading in general just really gets you going, you know, reading about fantasy, reading about other things, even watching a movie, just getting out there and seeing what the world has to offer really gets you going in that creative sense of the word. But these are just some resources that I am using to stay creative during 2017 as part of my goals. And I would love to know what you guys use to stay creative. How do you keep it going? Do you go outside and get inspired by nature? Do you stay in and cozy up with a book, watch a series on Netflix? What do you guys do? I would love to know, so leave that in the comment section down below. And I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that I bought the Still Like an Artist calendar by Kleon, obviously. Clearly I'm a fan. There's just something really soothing about waking up every day and looking at the theme of the month and being like, creativity mode unlocked.